Ian O'Neill for Severe MMA, and today I'm joined by the man himself, the legend Will Fleury, ahead of his UAE Warriors title fight on March 26th. Will, how's it going? Thanks for joining me today. What's the crack?
Oh, good man. Yeah, very well.
Nice. You're before we get talking about your fight, you're up at Bellator. We're recording this, I guess, the day after Bellator 275 went on. A couple of teammates on the card. You were up there yourself, watching the event. How did you find it?
It's class. Like, look, I suppose it's class because the lads did well, generally speaking. I know Danny Neal obviously had a tough night, and Daniele was involved in a very tough fight with Tokov. But by and large, everyone else did extremely well. Like, Sinead showed ridiculous resilience to come through and win that fight. Lee Hammond, an incredible, Tree Arena debut. Like, sky's the limit for that lad. He's been on a different buzz mentally for the last 6 months. I didn't get a chance to talk about him in the kind of scrum we did earlier in the week, but I've been kind of doing a good bit more with Lee the last 6 or 8 months, and he's on a different vibe. He has the hunger, and he has such a lust for knowledge and for getting better, and he's passionate about it. And you feed off that passion with him. So I was sitting beside, or his dad was sitting across from me as well. So it's a really nice moment, kind of watching him win and looking at the old man and seeing how proud he was of him and everything. So that was probably the highlight of the night for me. And then Derek Kelly was exceptional as well. So there was a couple of brilliant moments throughout the night. But yeah, overall, that was good.
Yeah, it was a real good night. Lee was excellent, and Dara and Nathan Kelly, everyone did really well. Yeah. I mean, for you, Will, obviously being a part of Bellator, you're obviously getting prepared, and with all those fighters that are fighting on the card, was it strange for you to be looking at it as a kind of a spectator, or did you have that want maybe to be a part of something like that? I know you were with Bellator before. It kind of didn't. How do you feel about all that situation?
I thought, to be honest, the first time Bellator came back, I probably thought I'd have a lot more of that, that kind of little bit of a wish I was part of this buzz now. And I didn't have it at all because I just fought and I had the hand broken at the time, and it was like that urge in me had been I'd scratched the itch fairly recently, and it was a different vibe. Whereas now, the last night sitting there, I was like, I really fucking hope I get the chance to fight in the Tree Arena again someday. That was what really hit me. Look, I'm not trying to shit on Bellator, but I don't really miss fighting with them that much. It was kind of a buzz where you felt like it was not really leading to anything. Whereas now I'm in a position where the sky's the limit. I have unlimited opportunity as long as I'm willing to pursue that. So I'm I just really, really want to fight in the Tree Arena again at some point in my career. Being there last night, there's something a bit special about it. And I'm extremely grateful for the fact that I've got to do that 3 times. And, I got massive receptions. It was class and unbelievable experience, but I don't want that to be over. I'm not done with that buzz yet. But who knows what promotion and what banner that'll be under. And I think, look, there's a few of us very well placed now. And if I go and win this title, Franz, Richie, any of us that were cut basically are quite well placed to get signed soon. So I think there's another wave coming. And it'd be incredible if get back to Tree Arena under the UFC.
What promotion would you like it to be for? I know you obviously have the UAE Warriors show coming up, and plenty of fights probably after that. But what promotion would, in an ideal circumstance for you, Will, what would your next fight in the Tree Arena? What promotion would that would you like that to be?
My goal has always been the UFC, man. And look, that's any young fighter setting out. I think if you're being honest with yourself, that's what you want to get to, and that's 100% what I want to get to. And bringing the UFC back to Tree Arena, and to be a mad atmosphere, obviously, as well. So that would be the dream, obviously. But it's on me to make that happen now, and that road isn't set out at all. So it's going to be a road I'm going to have to, plow down, basically, and clear the obstacles in front of me. And there's going to be some obstacles, but I feel very well placed mentally now to get through that.
Nice. And one of those obstacles is obviously Tarek Suleiman, who you will be fighting for the vacant title. Before we talk about that fight, I'd like to talk to you. The last time we spoke was before your last fight against Hojat Kajavan. Very impressive performance by you. For when I see you getting in there, Will, each time I see you, I see you leveling up and getting better and better and better. And I saw that in the last fight as well, you know, and it seems you're building this momentum, and then in that fight you break your hand and you're kind of, that momentum is stopped. Talk to me about that fight, how you felt in that fight, your performance, how you broke your hand and what the recovery was like.
So like the fight, the couple of months before that, my training, 2021 was kind of a strange year because obviously I thought I was still with Bellator, and then in about March of that year, I found out I wasn't. So early in the year, I was preparing for a fight with them. I assumed it was going to be Fabian or someone like that. But all of that year, I'd been in training with Narius in the mornings. So Narius, like, I think Narius, the guy who doesn't get anywhere near enough credit for what he is, but he's a black belt out of SPG that's been, you know, doing the jits classes there for years. But he's just got an incredible insight. And the main reason, like, well, I'll go back into the story of it, like, I've been around him for a few years and, you know, training under him the odd time for a few years. And one of the days, it was just after the lockdowns that kind of ended, and he was back in the gym. And it was me, Johnny Walker, Carl Moore, 2 or 3 other like big lads, all pro fighters, all like solid guys. You know, we were doing 5x5 kind of rounds, and Narius just was part of it. Like, and the guy's in his like early 40s, you know, not really training super hard anymore. And he came in, he like, I got battered by him basically, like, and I was just like, Jesus, and I was doing well against everybody else. And that opened my eyes to being like, okay, this guy isn't just the jits guy, this guy's legit everywhere. And like, he was playing with me and I could feel it. He wasn't even like nervous about anything I was going to do. He was just well ahead of where I, you know, had me down, like had everything I knew, or sorry, everything I was about to do. He knew what I was about to do and he had a counter for it. So I kind of, that was in mid 2020. And I tried to spend as much time as I could with him after that and just learning from him as much as I could. And obviously his Muhammad training under him a lot as well. So most of 2021, I just got in as early as I could every morning and trained with Narius for a couple of hours. And I felt like that massively improved my game. And even just the way I approach fighting and the way I break down what people are going to do and how they move and how to counter what they're doing. It's just knowledge. You know, that's one thing I've picked up hugely, and kind of with that, when you know what's going to happen, you can be a hell of a lot more calm and insightful about what you're going to do next, and your body just knows how to react to things as well. So anyway, basically, I'm looking long-winded story, but going into that Hojat fight, I felt like my training had come on a ton. You know, I went back down doing the pro classes and felt like, okay, I'm on a different level now. So it was like, I thought actually that week, you know, might have even been fighting Michael Materla, and that would have been probably a higher profile fight, but I would have been delighted to have gotten that. And I felt like I was really well placed to smash Hojak going into that. And look, he was tough. He was good, solid wrestler. Like, he's a proper professional wrestler. Like, he wrestles professionally every couple of weeks over there. He's in part of a league and all that sort of thing. So he's a good pedigree, especially with his grappling background. But it was one of those type of fights where I just never felt genuinely threatened, or, you know, that I know what I've done, I know what I've worked for, and I know what I can pull off. So this fight kind of seemed like this is going to be a fight to build you to bigger things. And that was how I felt in the fight, to like, you know, even warming up, but it just felt incredible. And the whole thing, like, it's easy to say all this now, but at the time, I really, like, Kieran Davin was the one warming me up, and he was like, whoa, fuck, this is a different thing now, isn't it? Like, and I was like, yeah, it is. And we're just going to go out and smash this lad. And unfortunately, first shot I threw, I hit too high in the head, and that's it. Like, look, there's always things you can improve on, but I was probably a little bit late throwing that shot. And by the time I was aiming to connect for the chin, but I connected like right on the top of the head there. The shot sat him down, but I broke my hand, and I broke it pretty badly. Like, it was a big displaced fracture in the, like, the main knuckle there. Oh, bollocks. Hold on. I can't get it into the camera now. Fuck. But basically, like, pretty bad break. And could just notice I couldn't grip with the hand straight away. It wasn't even that sore, but I knew something was up fairly quickly. Thought I'd kind of torn tendons or whatever, but it was in between the rounds. I was like, I've probably broken my hand. So then obviously it was just it was actually more for grappling point of view. Like I couldn't fully like whip it, or I couldn't fully close my hand. So it felt a bit weird, but it wasn't like completely stopping me. So, I dominated the whole fight. That was great. But afterwards, like straight away, I knew, okay, you've got a while out now. And then the process of healing and everything became a little bit more frustrating than I wanted it to. Like, I ended up getting put in the wrong cast twice, and a couple of shitty things happened. And then the bone moved slightly as well. But basically, it all came right. Like, thankfully, now the hand is perfect, and that's not an issue anymore. But it was a little bit of a like momentum blocker, if you know what I mean. But these things happen. This is fighting, man. You got to be ready to ride these waves sometimes, like,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, it was a very, like, to me, it was an impressive performance looking at it from the get-go, but then knowing that you broke your hand in the first exchange and were still able to out-grapple a really good grappler, I mean, that, like, at least you can take some positives out of that win as well. But, like, moving on after that fight then, you kind of alluded to in the pre-show, the Bellator pre-show that we had done, it was a little bit of a frustrating time for you trying to find your next fight and to kind of get matched up, and you had a couple of different offers on the table. What was going on with that?
So right after the fight, because 2021 was a hard year to get anything done, because promoters didn't seem too confident about what was going to happen with lockdowns or anything like that. So I had a bunch of guys at different times telling me, oh, I'm going to do a show here, and you get matched with a guy, and then they'd never contact you again. So that happened a few times over the summer, and eventually I got that fight in September. And then shortly after I broke the hand, I got offered a few fights with decent enough promotions, and obviously couldn't take them, but said, look, I have, like I've a broken hand for now, but for, in 10 weeks time, I'm good to go, and I'll be in good shape as soon as this is ready.
Do you don't want to tell us what promotions they were?
Eagle FC got on to me, and I got offered a fight for their belt. And that was interesting. But I tried to get back in touch with the guy, and he never got back onto me. So I don't know what happened there really. But then there was a few others. It was like, I won't name everyone, but decent enough promotions and like not bad money either. But it was frustrating, obviously, that it all came at a time where I couldn't take those opportunities. And then by the time I'd healed up and it was kind of coming up to Christmas, I got on to a lot of people, and nobody was putting anything on, or everybody was already booked up for shows. And I knew it'd probably be a while after Christmas, because, everything goes dead in January. So I just stayed training away, and literally within the 2 weeks that everything opened back up, the restrictions ended, and it seemed to kind of be fairly much around Europe. All the restrictions ended, and I got offered 5 fights within 2 weeks in that period of time. So a lot of the lads who I've been hassling got back onto me, and I had a lot of opportunities on my plate straight away, or within a very short period of time. So that was great. So I ended up accepting a few different fights, and then got offered this one. And I really didn't think Tariq would take this, but I accepted anyway. And to be honest, like, this is the fight I thought was least likely to happen, but the one that I wanted most. But fair play to Tariq, he took the fight, and now 4 weeks time, it's on.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you got the call that you wanted. I'm glad it worked out for you. And that call is for UAE Warriors on March 26th. This is a rematch. You fought Tariq Suleiman before at Brave. At the time, you were only a 3-0 fighter. You got the win. I watched back the fight. I thought that, yeah, clear win for you. Rounds 1 and 2 were clear rounds for you. It was a close fight. I mean, but I was confident enough to score in the fight for you. Were you kind of feeling the same?
Yeah, but I wasn't really happy. Like, that's my least dominant win ever. Now, there's no dispute in my mind, I won the fight. I think, like, there was a couple of times even in that third round where it was like, right, if you're gonna try and win this, you're gonna have to go for it. And he didn't, which, him trying to win would have given me opportunities to to do more. But instead, it seemed like he was happy to win the round, which was kind of strange, because, like, you've lost the first 2 rounds, I found that an odd approach mentally, but like there was still a little bit of a, how would you put it, like kind of a disappointment in myself for not being able to absolutely smash Tariq, because I went in there thinking, oh, I'm going to dominate the shit out of this guy, and I didn't, and that's reality. And I'm glad that I'm going to get the chance to put that right, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, I mean, like, he's been on a good run recently. He's moving down in weight. How different do you think of a fighter he is now than he was when he first fought you?
I've watched a lot of his last few fights, and he's definitely improved quite a bit. Like I don't think the fact that we've even fought before is that important than the fact that I won the last fight. That's obviously more motivation for him. He obviously thinks he's improved that much more in between, that he wants to take this fight, and that he, you know, is willing to test himself against a guy who's already beaten him. So I think, like, fair play to him for doing that, but I'm approaching this as if, like, it doesn't matter to me that I already beat the guy at all. It's, you know, the scoreboard's back at 0. It's like a new season. We're playing a new game again. You know, Liverpool beat Man U last year. It doesn't mean they'll beat them again this year, from my point of view. So it's just kind of, right, I'm going to watch what you do. I've already prepared for a guy really similar to you, but it's not the same guy. It's 4 years between fights. I'm a new guy. He's a new guy. Things like, look, the main thing to me is the opportunity involved with what happens when you smash this. You know?
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, like, how kind of like I asked how different you think he is. How different do you think you are right now? You're much more experienced.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like there was a lot of, like, I watched back that fight a few times once we got this one booked. And at first I was very like, God, I was shite then. And then the more I watched it, the more I was like, I was close to doing a lot of things right. You know, I had a lot of decent ideas that I just didn't follow through with fully. So even in the first round there was a bunch of positions where I was like, oh, I kind of got it back then. It was like I knew enough to not fuck it up massively, but I didn't know enough to really capitalize on where I was, like. And like, I'd love to go there again in this fight. You know, if we could, like, replay some of those positions again, it'd be really, like, you know, 4 years on, what have you learned? What have I learned? How's it going to play out now? Like, and I kind of think the main difference is going to be the striking exchanges. And, you know, he did a few weird things last time where he was, like, trying to grab the glove. So, like, he'd wait for me to jab, and then he'd try and time, like, grabbing around my glove afterwards. And I'd never dealt with that before. And it was kind of throwing me a bit. I couldn't really connect that clean with him. And then we ended up in a load of really scrapping it, like, kind of, you know, my head was down and I was thrown over the top. And he was like, he landed one or two half-decent uppercut, like, nothing that, like, he doesn't really throw with his hips fully. So, like, he kind of just lands, like, arm shots. But, like, one or two of them are like, okay, that's not bad. You're hitting me here, you know. And I was pretty disappointed with some of how those striking exchanges went. So I'd like to replay those, or, you know, I say replay, but I'm really interested in how those exchanges will go in this fight.
Yeah, this fight would be over 5-minute rounds.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to suit you better?
Yeah. Look, if you look at even I was really surprised. I think, was it two of the three judges gave me that third round? Yeah, which was bizarre. I felt like he probably won that round, to be honest.
I kind of did myself as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
it's very close, like, but that's the way I would have scored it.
But my point is, I think the reason two of them gave it to me was when I got back up, I was pursuing him, and I was really going at him at the end of that third. And even in the fight of what, like, his gas tank does seem to be an issue. I'm not going to rely on that. I'm expecting him to still be good in the third, or fourth, and the fifth if we get there. But I know I'm good. You know, I proved at the end of that fight I'm good for that. Like, and I've never slacked on that sort of thing, man. I've always been in ridiculous shit. Like, you know, I've had resting heart rate like 34 or something. So, like, I'm confident of going into any, like, at the end of training, I'm always one of the freshest people. I'm always one of the people who's, you know, ready to keep going. Like, so I'm very happy to be involved in the 5-round fight, man.
Obviously, you're preparing for 5-5s, but you're obviously looking to go in there and get the finish.
Yeah. No, look at like this thing. I keep talking about these opportunities beyond this, but man, if you want to get signed when you're a 32-year-old, you're gonna have to do something a little bit special. You're gonna have to go in and finish a guy. So that's the plan.
Your contract with UAE Warriors, how long is it? Is it a multi-fight contract?
One fight deal.
One fight deal. And if you win the championship, are you going to be pushing hard for maybe an opportunity with the UFC, or maybe to defend that title first? Or what's your 2022 look like?
Again, I don't like, if I go in and absolutely smash this, who knows? Things are wide open. You know, I'm not tied to anything. I wouldn't mind defending the belt if it goes that way. Like, I'll have fun doing it either way, whatever I'm doing. All I need, man, is opportunities. Keep the opportunities coming. Keep the ability, like, keep giving me the opportunity to prove myself on a platform, on a decent platform where I'm going to get spotted, where things can actually happen for me. If you give me that, grand, I'll keep going, man. You know, if we fight here in March, you have another one in May, cool, I'm good, let's go. I just really need opportunities. You know, opportunities to show what I am, man. I feel like I've done the work and I've been doing the work for the last 10 years, and it's kind of like, right, now I need to get out and actually show this. And there was a level of frustration with that last year, with not really being given the platform, or that, like, yeah, just the platform to demonstrate, look, this is what I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I can do. And I feel like I can do something a little bit special right now. And that window doesn't last forever, man. You know, and I don't feel old at all. I keep expecting that one of these days I'm going to start feeling older. I don't yet. But I know that that day will come. And I want to do a lot of shit before then, man. And I really do feel really well placed mentally right now to go in and achieve the things that I want to achieve through this. Like,
you mentioned not getting the platform, and I assume you're talking about, you know, you felt you could have had a lot more opportunities maybe with Bellator. And do you think that you're more bullish right now, maybe with promotions or organizations, that if it's not happening for you, that you feel that you're the person that has to make that happen for yourself?
Yeah, big time. Look, like throughout my career as well, like I've always been skeptical of signing multi-fight deals, but with Bellator, man, it made a lot of sense. The money was a hell of a lot better than anywhere else. So I had no issue with that, but there was frustration with, okay, you're going to fight in February, we'll leave you till September again. It doesn't really seem to be going anywhere. You know, we're not really invested in your career. We're not invested in building you. So you kind of feel like, well, I'm going to fight in February and I'm going to wait around for 6 months and I'm going to fight twice a year for the next 3 years. Right, great. It dulls it dulls your creativity and your ambition and your everything. You just feel a bit like stagnant, or that, you know, you're part, like, it's like working a job in a weird way. But I'm like not in that situation right now, and I'm glad to not be in that situation. And look, that's why this is a one fight deal. I wouldn't sign anything other than a one fight deal with anyone, man. I got offered a couple of different contracts, multi-fight deals with different people. It's like, I'm looking for the UFC, man. And like, I'm not in a position where if I can sign a 4-fight deal and wait 2 years and, you know, hope that at that point I'm open to being signed. Right now, it's got to be a 1-fight deal. You go in, you smash that guy impressively, and you see where the chips lie. And if the chips lie in the right place, good things might happen. And you got to back yourself.
For you, what do you feel is your best route to get to the UFC now? Would it be just looking for...
That's why this fight's the one that's happening, man, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's 4 other fights there that didn't get taken because this was the biggest opportunity for that in my eyes.
100%.
Broad fight pass. It's a title fight. You become the champion there. Look, who knows? Like, you know, we've been talking about it already. Who knows?
Like, would you...
if I defend that belt, I'm happy to defend that belt. Like, this is the thing. I think no matter what, all I really want is that ability to go out and prove what I'm about, and, like, you know, get that platform to show the world what Will fucking Fleury is, if you know what I mean. Like, and I feel like as long as I can get that and, like, really be able to prove, like, hey, fuck you, I'm a world-class martial artist. That's always been my thing. You know, I'm not some fucking wannabe gangster. I'm not some fucking fake celebrity. I'm just a dude who really wants to be really good at fighting. My goal in life every day when I fucking wake up in the morning, be a better martial artist. It's a simple purpose, like, and it's a beautiful life to live. And I want to live this life for as long as I can. I want to be as good as I can, you know?
Yeah, I guess I meant what route. I mean, obviously the title fight. I was meaning kind of. Would you be looking for a straight deal with UFC? Would you be willing to take a shot on the Contender Series to get in
Oh,
there?
yeah. Either, like, man, what, like, opportunity. That's just all I like, you know. If it,
100%.
yeah, like I saw Makiev saying that he wouldn't fight in the Contender Series. It's like, why the fuck wouldn't you? You know, it makes very little sense.
100%. Yeah. Look, it's clear to me that you love fighting. You love getting in there. I wonder, what don't you like about the fight game?
There's loads of shit. Like, look, yeah. Don't get me fucking started,
How
man.
long do I have?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, there's tons of sketchy as fuck stuff about fighting as a lifestyle, and no, not fighting as a lifestyle, but like making a living from fighting. So, like, I love being a martial artist. I'm not as enamored with a lot of what goes on behind the scenes in professional fighting, and even in front of fucking cameras in professional fighting a lot of the time these days. But like, I think ultimately it's a lifestyle where, like, you get to be who you are. That's the thing I love about this, man. I don't have to fucking change myself for anyone. I don't have to pretend to be somebody else. I'm Will fucking Fleury. I do what I want to do on a daily basis. I've been able to make a living doing that, thankfully, for the last 4 or 5 years. And I want to really, like, look, if that involves fucking working my balls off every day, all day, every day, you know, and I know that's not feasible and not the way you fucking train for any of this stuff, but like, if that was the purpose, or if that was the route to get to continuing and to fucking achieving what I want to achieve through this lifestyle, I'd be willing to put any amount of work into that, because I do love leading this life, and I do like, you know, like, learning constantly, developing a skill set constantly, just having that constant curiosity and that desire to like be better all the time and feel yourself getting better. It's a fucking amazing, like, you know, when you can feel yourself improving at something, it's so satisfying. It feels like everything else in your life just doesn't fucking matter and everything's falling into place. You know what I mean? And like, I suppose, like, we've alluded to like some of the frustrations and some of the adversity and all that sort of thing. And like, the one thing I love about this game, it's like a chosen adversity. So like, the rest of life, you don't really get to choose what you deal with. You just get what's put on your plate a lot of the time. Whereas with this, you choose your adversity, and you get to prepare for the adversity that you know is going to come. So it seems a lot more fair in a lot of ways, and it seems a lot more like there, you know, you'll get rewarded for what you put into this. And I've bought into that fully for years, man. And like, even I look back at the 2018 version of me that fought Tariq, and it's like, okay, that guy wasn't perfect, but he had a lot of fucking good ideas. And I've been like this for a while. And I know I got knocked out in Rome that time, and there was a lot of hype around me before all that. And, you know, then I lost 2 other fights in the meantime since. But I feel like I'm a world class martial artist. And I don't need to be fucking famous, and I don't really, I want to make some money, obviously, but like, I kind of really do feel the urge to prove, hey, fuck you, I am a world class martial artist. And that is something that burns within me. It's like, no, you have to respect that. I've worked this hard to be this fucking good. The people around me know that. The people who like see me on a daily basis know that. But it does irk me a little bit. Maybe it shouldn't. Maybe that's just my fucking ego. But I want everyone to fucking know that. Will Fleury's shit hot, like. You know, you can't argue with that. You can be like, oh, he's not like celebrity material, whatever. Fuck it, grand. But I'm a class martial artist. You better fucking know that.
Absolutely. Like, I think, you know, and I'll say it for myself and a lot of other people, what they respect about you, Will, is how fucking real yet you are. And, you know, talking about improving as a fighter, like I mentioned it before in the interview, and I'll say it again, you do see those improvements every time that you get in there. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next level when you get in there and fight Tarek at UAE Warriors. And I won't keep you for too much longer. Geez, I wish I could talk to you here all day, but obviously we can't do that. But you had Kieran Davern in your corner, and you're talking about.
That's where I wanted to go, to be honest.
And you're talking about improvement. How important has that man been in your improvement of your game?
Huge. So, like, I know I mentioned Arias earlier in the interview, but like, the time I spent with, like, I met Kieran first 2016. I was training out in Swords, and he was up there one of the days, and he was a really solid grappler then. And I was kind of really shocked by his level of grappling. And then over the next kind of, 6 or 8 months, I'd met him once a month, kind of up in Swords, and I'd be out there training. He'd be there training the odd time. and he cornered me for a grappling fight. It was just that I was getting warmed up at the same time as him. And I was doing some grappling super fight against some brown belt lad. And he was just kind of subtly giving me little hints in between. He was like, oh, just move your hip a little bit here. Oh, if you want it, yeah, but you can lead to there off of that and you can get in there. And I was like, look, will you corner me for this? And he was like, yeah, no bother. And then shortly, so that was August 2017. And before I went to Africa, I came down and I did a bunch of sessions with him. And I brought all the stuff he taught me. So I went down to Tullamore and he spent a few hours with me a few different times. And I felt like my grappling game just came on so much from those few hours. And then I went over to Africa and I was smashing all the lads with the stuff he taught me. And after that, I was just like, okay, I have like a secret code here. This guy's like the secret sauce. And since then, like I've gone down, and I've said it to people. I've like, I said secret sauce, but I was telling everybody about it. And like a lot of people are like, yeah, cool. And now, like when I say I'm going down to Tullamore, I have a full car within 10 minutes. Like, I just say the word Tullamore and I've like 5 people are like, yeah, I'll be down. So it's cool to see that Kieran's getting the recognition he deserves because the guy has been on a different level in Ireland for a while.
Absolutely, yeah, I have to agree. And I've had a glimpse of listening to him cornering at the IMAFs, and obviously with those big shows you're not going to hear corner advice, but at the IMAF events where there's not that much of a crowd there, you can really hear his input into every fighter, not just you, into every fighter, and how much he cares, and just that little bit of technical advice and the simple advice that can just make a huge difference in a fight. It's really important.
Yeah, it's huge. And like even if you watch that fight in Bulgaria, like in between rounds, so the first round, Kieran just talked me through pretty much everything, every position. Like you can hear him. If you watch the video back, it's like Kieran's got the control and I'm just the guy, I'm the character executing it, but like in between rounds, I was like, I'm pretty sure my hand's broken. He didn't even acknowledge it. That was the perfect thing to do. He was like, yeah. And you're doing this and you're doing this. And when you get to this position, you're going to do this. And it's like, yeah, cool. Because fuck that. Why focus on that?
Exactly.
It's the shit thing of me mentally to even go, my hand is broken. Because it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Like, you're doing what you're doing. What are you doing? Oh, you're not doing this well enough. You need to do this a little bit better. When you get to this position, do that. And like, I love that. And like, that was fucking, I don't know. I just really enjoyed that weekend. But like, before the handbrake, even like having Kieran there as a person, he's just a very easy character to be around. He's very like chill person. And like, it was myself, him, and my missus Sinead came over as well. And like, we had a great weekend over in Sofia, so I look forward to more of those experiences, man. And I want to make that, Vegas, and I want to make that everywhere else in the world as well. So the work will be put in. The work will be put in, and these things will happen.
Nice. A couple of more quick ones before we go. I won't keep you too much longer. Your another tip man did well at the Nationals. Colin Marr picked up a gold medal. How happy were you to see him to pick up that gold medal in the lightweight division?
Well, like, it was unfortunate he had to beat Jordan Fleury to do it. I'd be quite close with Jordan as well. I really like Jordan as a young lad. Like he's a very hard worker and he's got a good mindset towards fighting. I think he'll do very well in future as well. But Colin, I've been training with for years, man, since 2016, and I didn't really know him before. Okay, it's funny, we both met in Dublin and didn't really know much about each other. But yeah, like I was down in Clonmel over the Christmas there, and it's brilliant to see someone bringing proper tip MMA, but
yeah, and he has the promotion going now as well, Premier as well.
Like I'm kind of gutted I can't be at it, to be honest. But like it's like that lad should have gone pro 4 years ago, and I've been telling him that. Like, and I kind of think even he'd be in a better place now if he'd gone pro a few years ago, because he had the skill set back 2017, 2018, where he was dominating guys who were decently high-level pros. And I kind of feel like if he'd done that now, but look, I hope he does go pro fairly soon, and it's all what he wants to achieve out of it, man. But the level, like, that guy's lived the proper martial arts lifestyle for a long time, and it's good to see him getting kind of rewarded for that there over the weekend and whatever. But he's good bit in his locker, that lad, and he could achieve a bit more.
Yeah, I'd love to see him go pro. I think he's ready. Hopefully he recovers quickly from that injury, and we do get to see that. One last one. good, your training partner, good friend, Johnny Walker, things didn't go his way, obviously, in his last fight. You know what I mean? What's your reaction to that? And maybe the reaction that he's got online, which I thought was pretty stupid, and a lot of memes and lack of disrespect, really.
So obviously gutted for Johnny, and like I light heavyweight, man. Obviously, one shot can change things massively, and that was the case. He's a freak athlete, Johnny. Like, he's so long, he's so different. He's so, like, I think, you know, he's focusing on elbows when he's got arms that are longer than everybody else in his division, you know. And he was just a bit like, if just don't go there. You don't need to like run in and throw a flying knee and smash this lad. But it's kind of his character and his style that just does that for him. Like, but I was like, obviously all the stuff afterwards was a bit mental and a bit stupid. But I kind of think if you're gonna be like, if you're gonna live this, like, if you're gonna be a professional fighter and you're gonna put yourself out there, you kind of have to know who you are and what you're about, not give a fuck what anyone else thinks. And I'm not like, this isn't directed towards Johnny at all either, but like when I got knocked out in Italy, I remember being on the bus back and I opened up like my phone and I had like, you know, 50 message requests, and I'd never even seen these things before, but like I went through and there was all like these memes of me getting knocked out. Like, I think, and I haven't had that since actually that much, but like, it's kind of like funny enough nearly, because you're like, right, I know what I am and I know what I'm trying to be, and I know what you are and what this is, and it's nearly just like, right, whatever. You have no bearing over, like, this doesn't actually mean anything. You know, if somebody's jealous of you, like, or generally speaking, if you're getting a lot of hate, it's somebody who's probably not in a great position in life themselves, and they're projecting that onto you. And it's really got fuck all to do with you. It's got a hell of a lot more to do with them. And I kind of hope that Johnny understands that enough that, like, this shit shouldn't bother you. Like, it's just bollocks. It's just some angry fucker sitting at home on his laptop, like, you know, miserable because he never fucking pursued anything he was passionate about. Just be grateful for the fact that you get to pursue something like this, man. You know, at the end of the day, he's after fighting there. He's going to get paid for that. It's fucking, I know it's obviously ridiculously soul-crushingly disappointing to go in and try so hard at something and, you know, something like that happens. And like, thankfully he's physically okay and there's that side of it. But hate is hate, man, and it doesn't mean anything. Like, if you let people like that get you, you're focused on the wrong things. You know, be what you are and just live your life the way you want to live it, and fuck what anybody else thinks, man.
Absolutely. And that's probably a really good way to round off the interview. And like, any shout outs, Will, before we head off?
Probably. Just, there's so many people that have been really good to me in training over the last, you know, kind of couple of years. Like, Carl Moore has been amazing with the amount of drilling he's done with me and just the amount of time he's given me of his, where he's just like using me as a dummy. And like, I've just been coming in and practice stuff with him. Young Muhammad is an amazing grappler, and I've learned so much off him over the last year. And just the amount of kind of insight and information I've like pulled out of him. And loads of, like, you know, John, for creating a structure that all of this environment can flourish within. And the amount of teammates who've just been pretty class, and like, you know, like I say, I've gone through periods of adversity and all this sort of thing, but like, I feel like we've a really good vibe in the gym at the moment. We've a really good team there, and we've like kind of a much better mental attitude than was there a few years ago, if you know what I mean. So grateful for all those people who've kind of like been there at times where they've needed to be there.
100%. And you know, you're a man, Will. You fought in Dublin and Belfast and in South Africa, and competed in Jordan. You've competed in Italy. You've competed in Bulgaria, and now the title road has led you to Abu Dhabi, to UAE Warriors on March 26th for the vacant middleweight title against Tariq Suleiman. I'm delighted that you're getting the opportunity.
You're wrapped around the raw bastard in 4 weeks, all right?
That's right. Are you going to get, you know, you're always competing with Pedro Carvalho with the socks and stuff. Are you going to get some championship socks organized now?
There are sock societies sent me these. These are my Bosco socks, right?
Love it.
Actually, sent these, but that was class. So,
nice.
Irish Sock Society, so they're helping me beat the Portuguese back, you know.
Love it. Love it. Right. UFC Fight Pass, March 26th. UAE Warriors, Will Fleury versus Tariq Suleiman, vacant middleweight title. I'm glad you're getting the opportunity, Will. You deserve it. You've put in the hard work, and I wish you all the best in that fight. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Everybody tune in to UFC Fight Pass. Check it out. Will is always going in there, giving it his all, always in entertaining fights, always putting it on the line. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today, Will, and all the best.
Cheers. Thanks, Will.
Cheers, man.